Hey guys, Jake Madison here. I shaved the beard. I kept the mustache. I think it looks good, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. I look a little bit different, I'll admit. But until then, welcome back to Locked On Pelicans. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Pelicans, your daily New Orleans Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Pelicans, the daily podcast covering your favorite team, the New Orleans Pelicans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And now the #1 sports podcast network. Look at that. Someone in the New Orleans market is doing well in the standings. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Join over 12,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube as well. You can also watch us on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. I'm your host for today, Pelicans insider, credentialed member of the media, Dylan Sanders. You can find me over on Twitter at Dilly Sanders, and I'm also the publisher of Pelicans Roundtable, a fun community of basketball fans. Jake is not here today, but he'll be back with you next week, and we'll get into that a little bit more later in the show. On this Friday, we're talking about quick injury updates for Zion Williamson and Jordan Poole from whenever I was at practice, why the rest of November is crucial to the future of the New Orleans Pelicans. But first, let's start with why I think that the talent evaluation of Troy Weaver might have already saved the franchise. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, here's why I think that Troy Weaver's best strength, his talent evaluation, might have already saved the New Orleans Pelicans. If you look back at his run with the Detroit Pistons, it's not great. The team didn't look great. But if you look at them right now, they're the #1 team in the East, and that all started with the contributions of Troy Weaver. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, and Isaiah Stewart are all guys there contributing regularly and are, I would say, they're the core of that team. They're all Troy Weaver guys. Cunningham, Thompson, and Ivey, I'll give you they were like best available talents, but it's still possible to mess that up. Saddiq Bey is another talented player who we're seeing shine right now in his role in New Orleans years later. Luka Garza didn't last long in Detroit, but he's another NBA contributor that's getting like 15 minutes a night for the Celtics this year. Isaiah Livers, Marcus Sasser, a couple other guys that still have NBA jobs. Marcus Sasser is still there in Detroit. But that's a lot of NBA talent to get from just a handful of drafts. Now, it didn't all go right. I'll give you Killian Hayes was a massive, so we're going to miss, but I'll give him a little bit of a break because of the COVID draft. The pre-draft process was weird. A lot of people like Killian Hayes. I think the point stands. Weaver's biggest strength has always been his talent evaluation. And you're already seeing that come to fruition, pay off in New Orleans. You got Derik Queen, Jeremiah Fears, and Micah Peavy all looking like fantastic picks. They're all hits, in my opinion. Micah Peavy's not getting a lot of shine, but that's a multi-year, that's a long-term NBA player, if you ask me. He's hitting shots better now, and he is defending his behind off. I called him Jose Alvarado Jr. the other day at the Pelicans game. I don't think that's really right because he's bigger than Jose Alvarado, but the point, you know what I mean. He gives the effort. He looks like an NBA player. Jeremiah Fears and Derik Queen look like legitimate future potential all-stars. Derik Queen is, I think, the future of this franchise right now. Even if the Zion Williamson situation doesn't get better, if he comes back, maybe gets hurt again, or they decide to move on, we'll talk a little bit later about why they might just decide to move on. But if they do, you already have the future of your team in Derik Queen. I won't say he's the perfect NBA big right now because he's a rookie. He makes mistakes. He doesn't always look perfect, but he's a rookie. You don't have to look perfect. I think he's shown all of the fundamentals on the court to look like a franchise player. He has the passing. He has the shooting. Well, the shooting is where it really needs to come, but he has shown the ability and the confidence to take like a couple mid-range shots. He takes threes if he's left open. So if those shots develop, look out. You're looking like he's like an MVP candidate. But even if they don't become like elite level stats, if he can just score at a normal rate and then rebound and assist, pass, he's defending well right now. Those are all things you look for in a franchise guy. And he also is already beloved by the I don't know the last time I've seen New Orleans rally around a player like this was Zion Williamson. That didn't really work out too well so far, but he's still young. Maybe it could. But Derik Queen is the guy. He has the personality. He's beloved by the fan base. And it gives you an out if you do decide to blow it all up, because you have this guy. You have your next cornerstone. Jeremiah Fears is an aggressive guard. He gets to his spots with ease, and he's only 19 years old. Jason Tatum flashbacks, but it's true. He's only 19, and what he does is impressive for his age. The jump shot started off slow, but I think he's hitting about 37% since he hit his first three. He finally saw one go in, and they've started to come in at a better rate. The point is, these are guys that have already been handpicked by Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars, and they look like your future. They look like the potential start of that Pistons core that we saw turn that team around. Now, the problem with Weaver and where he needs to learn have also started to show themselves in New Orleans, and that's where it's a little bit worrisome, I would say. The overall management of assets like trade and draft and all that stuff was bad. It was poor. It did not work out in Detroit. It was hard to build that team, and whenever they did build a team, the roster construction, another thing, was bad. They couldn't shoot. They kept adding more bigs, and it was frustrating for Detroit fans. It was frustrating for an NBA fan that just wanted to see the Pistons do well. They also held on to Dwayne Casey for too long. He inherited Dwayne Casey, and when things weren't working, they didn't make the switch very quickly. Waited a couple years, and it didn't work out. Now, if they wait a couple years with Willie Green and things don't get better, things might get ugly. I don't think that would happen. And that brings me to the point of, I think that maybe working with Joe Dumars a little bit closer can help him also have somebody to change that. But the early returns aren't great. That the trade to get Derik Queen was ill-advised, I would say. It's working out because Derik Queen looks like a stud, but you're not always going to look out like that. And if they didn't get Derik Queen, if they got a lesser performing rookie, man, the conversation around New Orleans would be even more grim than it already is. So that's not a good sign that we're already seeing that come back up. Willie Green, the roster does look a little weird right now, but they haven't had a chance to fully build it in their own image. So we'll give them a couple years to do that. But I'm choosing to focus on the positives right now. And that's with, he has shown in the past that he knows what to look for in NBA players and can show that it works out. Those other things will give them time to work out and show that they maybe learn from their past. Although, like I said, we're not seeing the greatest early signs of that. But there's time. The best parts of his run in Detroit are already showing themselves in New Orleans, and it could end up saving the franchise because they have two great players to build around and a third rookie role player. And they have a ton of younger players, like 25, 26, that you can still build around with these players. But, yeah, they have to show growth in some places. But stick with what you know in draft evaluation because it's working out for you. Coming up next, we're going to talk about why I think the month of November could end up being crucial to the future of New Orleans sports. What's the point? Sorry, if you heard that, it was me pouring out that boring drink because it didn't have the benefits of Drip Drop added to it. And I need the hydration benefits that Drip Drop gives me. When I'm hydrated, everything works better. My focus, my energy, mood, and even my beautiful, beautiful skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's a doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 20% off. Stock up now and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. What? I just got a text asking me about guests coming over for holiday parties, and I just realized that I live in a full-on bachelor pad. As you can see, I think I need some help with my decoration. Well, thank goodness that we have Wayfair as a sponsor today. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serverware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help make your space shine. And the best part, you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long with up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. Browsing through their site, it's easy to find pieces that actually fit my style, nothing generic, and just quality designs that feel personal. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We're here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 12,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube. I'm Roundtable Pelicans publisher Dylan Sanders, filling in for Jake Madison today. He'll be back with y'all next week. But remember, Jake's about to get married. Congratulations. A round of applause. And when he's on vacation, he's taking a break. He's getting away from this team. But I'll be back here for a couple of weeks while that happens, so get used to my voice. Starting on November 24th, you'll be with me for a couple of weeks. All right, the next month or so of games is going to be crucial for the New Orleans Pelicans. No matter how things play out, it could end up impacting the immediate future of this team. They sit at 2-9 right now and face a gauntlet of teams over the next couple of weeks. So let's break it down. They started out this 5-game homestand with a loss to Portland, and that hurt a lot, because that was their best chance to win one before going back out on their next road game. They play against the Los Angeles Lakers tonight, then Golden State, OKC, and Denver. In all likelihood, they're staring 2-13 in the face. It gets a little bit easier after that because they go back on the road to take on Dallas, then back home against Atlanta, Chicago, and Memphis. They close out November on the road against Golden State and the Lakers. I know they've already beaten Dallas and played Memphis close on the road, but those things don't always get easier when you play a team for the second time. ESPN's matchup predictor has them as underdogs in every single game, most of them by a wide margin. I don't buy fully into like the matchup predictor thing, but those expectations are that you leave November without another win. I mean, that's a very real chance that happened. I don't think that would happen. You probably pick up a game or two here or there. We talked about there are some easier games in that little stretch. But if things don't improve and they do in the month between like 2-19 or 5-16, then your season is essentially over. Willie will likely actually be gone this time because there's just no getting around that bad of a start with the expectations, the pressure, the past couple of years. I don't think there's any defending that enough to have him coach beyond that point. And then the likelihood is that it goes to James Borrego. Borrego will then want to win as many games as possible because he wants to audition for New Orleans next year possibly, or whatever NBA team eventually does, like interview him or gives him another job, because he is an NBA guy. Teams have wanted him in the past couple, or considered him, I would say, in the past couple of coaching cycles. And it seems like it's only a matter of time until he gets another NBA job. So he's going to want to win as many games as possible. But if you're Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars, like we mentioned earlier, you're going to want to have your eyes set on the future of this team. And then that's whenever the trade deadline starts to look really, really interesting to me. Now, there are two guys that I think are worth trading. Because this season, if that happens, is a lost cause. You don't have your first round pick this year, but at that point, it's a lost cause. You're not going to try and win as many games as possible and make that pick not look that good. You just got to hit the reset button and accelerate. The two top names that I would consider trading if this season goes the way that it looks like it's going to go, or this month rather, it's Zion Williamson and Dejounte Murray. Now, Zion Williamson, that is a complicating trade thing because his value is nowhere near where it has been in the past couple of years. But at some point, you just have to bite the bullet and be like, all right, we need to move on as a team, get the distraction out of the building. the detraction of his injury history, because whenever he's on the court, he's a great player. He's great. He just hasn't been on the court enough. It's the same conversation that we've had around Zion for years and years at this point. I think we looked, and it was 43% of possible games he could have started, he has started. And if you're at this point, it's a breaking point. Just move on. You have, like we mentioned, Derik Queen and Jeremiah Fears to build around. Trade Zion. Get whatever you can for him. And both parties, I think, are going to be better for it. Now, Dejounte Murray is another case, because I don't even think he makes sense if the team starts doing well on this team. He doesn't really fit with your guard rotation, the Jeremiah Fears, Jose Alvarado, Jordan Hawkins, and Jordan Poole. That I don't see where he fits into that. So Dejounte Murray is someone that I would consider trading either way. Maybe shore up some front court. There will be teams that want Dejounte Murray because he's an all-star caliber guard. He's one of the best defensive point guards in the league. I just don't see where he exactly fits next to Jeremiah Fears. So those are two players that I would heavily consider trading and just moving forward. And then if you really want to blow it up, maybe the players with the most trade value on the team are Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. Now, I know they're like, the fans love them, and you just gave them these extensions. But at a point, if you're just going to blow it up, you might as well blow it up. So you at least have to consider trading Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. And yeah, that would hurt, but that's where you're going to get the most value, I think, right now, because Zion has the injury history. There's concern about whether he loves the game of basketball. We won't get into all that. We don't know what's going on in his head. But the contract's not good. But all that considered, I think you do end up trading him at that point. And the benefit of blowing it up right now is that you have the players that are who the fans will rally around. You're not going to have the backlash that you would have had a couple of years ago of trading Zion, because the public reception around him has lowered around the years. And you have the young core that we talked about, the Troy Weaver guys, the Joe Dumars, the draft, the rookies. You have those guys to at least be like, hey, we have a vision. This year's not going to be great because we don't have our pick. That's our bad, but we have Derik Queen to celebrate. Then you have your picks for the next couple of years after that, and you have whatever you get from the trade deadline. So it's not all lost just because you traded your pick this year. You can rebuild. You just have to start it at some point. And if you start the season 5-16 or 2-19, which again is a very real possibility, I think it's time to make that call. Coming up next, Zion's still here, and he's in practice, and the team announced at a very positive injury update for him today. So we're going to get into that, a little bit of what Jordan Poole has looked like, coming up next on Locked On Pelicans. We all love seeing Derik Queen reach into his bag and pull out some crazy move that a 20-year-old rookie big should not be able to do. DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep you, the fans, in their bag all season long. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day. And you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff that you're actually going to want. They're not going to end up in that drawer where you keep all your Mardi Gras throws. This is real cool stuff. So next time someone goes for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with the promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. The Pelicans have been fun late in games, but it's the third quarter, the middle of games and the beginning of games that have ruined them. But these fourth quarters have remained competitive for the most part. It's pretty fun. Right now, FanDuel is giving $300 in bonus bets to new customers when their first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We're here Monday through Friday, the #1 Pelicans podcast covering everything you want to know about this Pelicans team. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and join over 12,000 Pelicans fans on YouTube. You can also watch us on the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, the #1 sports podcast network. Oh my God. Somebody is doing it right in New Orleans, I'm telling you. And it's because you got Ross Jackson, you got Jake Madison, you got me on the Same Squad show. All of those shows you should be listening to and watching. Let me know how long you've been listening to Jake in the comment section below. Also, leave a question down for me because I'm going to be here starting November 24th for a couple of weeks after Jake takes his break. All right, let's get into these quick injury updates. Zion, it was a grade 1 left hamstring strain. The team announced today that he is cleared to resume basketball activities. Jordan Poole, it was a quad strain. We don't really know yet. We'll get into him a little bit. Starting with Zion, I've seen him at practice the past couple of days. Even before they announced him, I saw him doing like acceleration drills, running against a band, and then shooting free throws. Today, we got into the facility, and he was shooting three-pointers. He was, doing a little bit more intensive work. And then we got the news that he is cleared to resume basketball activities with contact. Now, that doesn't mean he'll be back immediately, but he'll be back soon. So this didn't really keep him out too long, but he's already missed 6 of the 11 games to start this season, which is not a great sign for him. Whenever, it was all of the offseason hype of him being like, I'm finally healthy, I'm feeling better than ever. And that might have been true, but we haven't seen the results yet. If he can turn it around this season and start playing more, maybe it changes the way you think. But the early signs, it's impossible to say that things are getting better. And, I'm really excited to see Zion come back because I think that you can unlock something new with this team and maybe even a path forward with keeping him if he stays healthy past the trade deadline with Derik Queen. We haven't seen a ton of minutes of those two together, but the minutes that you do see are really, really promising. I think they're at a plus 20 net rating right now whenever they're on the court together. And that is so much fun. I want to see just a starting lineup of Fierce, Herb, Trey, Zion, and Queen, because I think that has as much of a well-balanced look of different things. You have multiple players that can play make, that can be that hub. You have players that can shoot. You have players that can defend. And Zion and Queen playing off each other in the paint seems just like so much fun because you are forcing teams to sell out to defend different players, and you're leaving other players wide open for looks. And it's fun. And that's just something I want to see before they decide to blow it all up. And it looks like we're going to get a chance to see it somewhat soon. I'm glad that this hamstring injury isn't looking to be long-term. We don't know exactly when he comes back, but I'm just excited to see what it looks like whenever he does, because he's looked great this season. I love seeing him shoot three-pointers in practice. They look good. You really want to see him have the confidence to move that into a real game, and he just hasn't yet. Now, with Jordan Poole, we don't have an exact update on him, but I wouldn't say he's that far behind Zion right now. I see him shooting in practice. I see him shooting free throws, doing the dribbling drills. He is kind of on this, I would say, the same path that Zion was before getting this designation of cleared to resume basketball activities with contact. So I wouldn't expect it to be that long before Jordan Poole gets the same update. I talked to Kevon Looney today because they were teammates in Golden State and they've been close friends for a while. And Looney told me, like, Jordan's not used to being injured this long, and it's really eating at him. So he wants to get back out there and wants to get back on the floor and wants to play winning basketball. And it's the playing winning basketball part that really is on my mind with Jordan Poole, because his minutes have not been great this year. Now, do I think he's being used correctly? Maybe not. He needs to figure out how he fits into this offensive scheme. They need to figure out if he wants to start or come off the bench. Well, I know he wants to start, but they need to figure out if he should start or should come off the bench. But that'll do it for Locked On Pelicans today. Thank you for checking out Locked On Pelicans, making us your first listen every day. Right now, you should go listen to Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd is an expert, has me at 3-0 and an early lead on 4-0. Don't tell my friend Adam that. On our first ever fantasy basketball league. I've never done it before, didn't know anything about it, didn't know the rules before my draft, but I listened to what Josh Lloyd had to say, and guys, I'm about to be 4-0. I'm looking awesome. You could do that too. Thank you for listening to Locked On Pelicans. I'm your host, Dylan Sanders. You can find me on Twitter at Dilly Sanders. Come find me over at Pelicans Roundtable, fun basketball community, talk basketball, and then we'll see y'all on Monday. It's going to be a lot of fun. A couple games to talk about.